Hey everyone, Addie Gundry here in the RecipeLion Test Kitchen. I'm here with Jessica, as always, and we are going to make for you a really fun spring dessert, a Oreo Dirt Pie. It's going to resemble sort of a spring garden with worms coming out of it, but it's super cool. And you may have made this as a kid. I know that I used to eat these when I was a little kid, but we have a different twist on it. So when I was a kid, I used to eat it with chocolate pudding, and they looked like dirt cups, but today we're gonna make it with cream cheese and vanilla pudding and add a little more of a upscale, elegant twist to this dirt pie situation. So let's get started. It's super easy. That's why I don't have one prepared already, because we're gonna make it together because it's that fast. So what we're gonna do is chop up our Oreos. So I just put an entire package of Oreos in a food processor. You can of course use a Ziploc bag, and what you can do is just crush them with your hands. So put them in a baggie and then bang on the table. But this is a lot faster. I'm gonna turn it on. It's gonna be really loud, so bear with me. Now, I sort of like when there's some chunks of the Oreo left in it because it adds in a little texture. So you can definitely continue to pulse it so that you can see, let's see if I can get this off. You have the fine crumbs in here, but we also have a few chunks. I might pulse it a little bit longer because some of these are big, and essentially you want it to resemble this dirt, Oreo dirt. All right, let's try again. Okay, we're just gonna let those hang out in there. Can you use other things? Of course you can. There's chocolate wafer cookies you could do. I used Thin Mints the other day. I don't know about you, but I bought so many Girl Scout cookies this season, and so Thin Mints would also be delicious. Any kind of cookie that you can crumble up will work. Chips Ahoy. I don't know, I just gave a lot of cookie examples.
Could you do a blonde Oreo and make this a beach scene?
Well, there we go. We could do a blonde Oreo and make it a beach scene. Look at that. Shortbread cookies, add to the beach. Okay, now we're gonna make the filling. So we've got our cookies. This is 2 packages of vanilla pudding. It's just the mix. And essentially we're just making pudding, but we're making it with a little less milk, okay? So basically half of what the package will call for. Our recipe on RecipeLion.com will say exactly how much milk you need, but just to kind of give you a quick preview of that, it's not as much milk as you usually use because we're gonna add more stuff to this vanilla pudding filling mixture. I can already feel it thickening up, which is so cool, what I love about pudding. But while this sort of thickens, we're just gonna stir it for a couple minutes. I'm gonna make the other part of our filling that's going to be folded in here and combined. And that is cream cheese, a little butter, powdered sugar, and Cool Whip. Any questions so far?
So what are some presentation techniques you would have for this?
Awesome, so we have a few ideas for you. One of them is just to put it in a big sort of trifle dish or bowl. You can put it in honestly anything, but what I like, when it's clear, you can see the different layers, so you'll see that when we layer it in. So you could just do one big container, and that way you put it up on a table, maybe as a centerpiece, and then kids can scoop into it, which is kind of fun. Mm-hmm. It kind of really feels like you're scooping into a spring garden. Or another idea is to serve them individually. So you could actually put a few layers in a little jar, maybe a smaller cup. The other day, I made this for a group of kids, and I used little clear plastic cups, which was great because then we could just throw them out. So instead of doing the dishes, if you just do clear plastic cups, you can let people eat their own and then toss them. So that's how we'll put them in containers. Of course, there's a few ways you can decorate. You can decorate with gummy worms, which is what we'll do, and that's what the kiddos love. But you could also use little fake flowers and leaves, basically, again, creating a spring garden.
Is there such thing as edible flowers or anything like that you could add?
That's a great idea. So there's different types of edible flowers. One, you can get sugar flowers, which is sort of like what you'd find at a Hobby Lobby store or a Michael's Crafts. It's in the baking section, even at a grocery store, where you'd see sort of the Wilton packaging. You know those, like, it looks like candy sugar? You could use those flowers, and that way those are edible and really sweet. Or you could actually use edible flowers like orchids and things like that you can find in the grocery store in the section that's usually by the mushrooms and the herbs. There are some edible flowers. In all honesty, though, those kind of taste like flowers, so with the dirt or the little Oreo dessert, it might not be as good as if you use the sugar flowers. Okay, so take a look. Our pudding is thick already, which is great. We're just gonna let it sit here for a second. And now we're gonna do the rest of the filling. I have an 8-ounce block of cream cheese and a stick of butter. And I'm going to just, these are kind of at room temperature, and I'm just gonna combine them. You can use a stand mixer, a hand mixer. If you're super strong, you could just use a spatula. And as you see, a lot of it will get stuck in these tongs, not tongs, whatever these are, whisks. But we're gonna add in the powdered sugar, and that will help break it up a little. Making a little bit of a mess. It's almost like making a cream cheese frosting. I add the powdered sugar in a little at a time just because of the mess component. If you have a big old bowl or a stand mixer, you can just dump it all in together. You can see it's coming together really well. Any questions while I'm mixing?
Well, Kaylee recommended that you could also use gummy frogs with this, which would be cute.
Kaylee, I love that idea with the gummy frogs.
What other treats would you recommend serving with this? So if you have, some sort of spring party with kids, you have the dirt pie, and what else would work with this?
Spring dishes. Well, one thing I love to do in the spring is dip strawberries in orange chocolate melts because it looks like a carrot. So you can make little kind of chocolate covered strawberries but use the orange candy melts, and it will look like a little spring carrot. So that's kind of fun. I also like serving with lemonade or a lemonade cocktail for parents. So that's kind of a fun beverage to drink with this. All right, that's good enough here. Now, what I'm going to do is combine this. See how it's sort of thick? And it's a lot thicker than this. Well, not so much. It's pretty good texture-wise. But I'm gonna try and lighten it up a little bit by adding in some whipped topping. So this is basically just Cool Whip. You could also make your own whipped topping, but I like using Cool Whip. I love the taste and I love the texture. And we're gonna lighten up this frosting before we add it into the pudding. I mean, this is just gonna be the most delicious thing ever. All right, so now we're gonna put our pudding in here. I'm gonna do it a little at a time, just so we make sure that we combine it really well.
Are there any other pudding flavors you would recommend for this?
Sure, of course chocolate would be great. I also do like lemon. People might think that's a little weird, but it tastes good with the cream cheese and even with the chocolate. I think there could be probably a cookies and cream or Oreo pudding out on the shelf. I don't really know, but that would be good. All right, I'm just gonna finish this up. I'm gonna actually add it in this bowl because it's a little bigger. Getting this all over myself. Whoever said baking was clean, not me. Okay, another thing you could do is you could put chunks of Oreo in here. You could also put some sprinkles. You could kind of dress up this filling if you wanted to, but we're gonna just leave it as is for now. And we're going to assemble our bowl here, okay? So let's take this, and I'm gonna start with the Oreo. It really doesn't matter. You can kind of do whatever you want.
If you don't have a food processor, would something like a blender also be able to chop that up?
Of course, use a blender, or as I mentioned earlier, use a Ziploc bag. Would work too. So I'm just gonna put a little on the bottom, kind of coat it, and then essentially I'm just gonna spoon it in. And the cool thing about this is it doesn't have to be perfect because it's just a trifle. Do you guys know what a trifle is? It's sort of like an English dessert with layers. We're gonna add in a layer of pudding. Let me just tell you, I just took a bite of this pudding and it is better than pudding. essentially, because you're adding the butter and the sugar and the cream cheese. A little more of this. A little more of this. Now, you want to end, of course, with the dirt layer on top so that it looks like a spring garden. And I'm keeping some of this so I can show you how to make a little one. And then what you can do, like I said, is add a little flour if you want it to. Stick that in there. A couple worms coming out. And it's sort of adorable and looks like a little spring garden. I just made a mess. Here's what you can do. You can wipe it up. A little paper towel on your edges. And look at that. Now let's just make a little cute one for you guys to see the difference. I'm gonna put a little pudding in. The other thing you can do is throw some worms in there, right? Whoop! Worm alert! Some dirt. This is also a really fun thing to make with kids. Kids will be even messier than I am. That's hard to believe since, as you can see, I'm a mess, but it's a fun, easy thing to do with the kids. All right, ready? More dirt. Oh gosh, look at all that dirt. It's going everywhere. I'm gonna add some more dirt in here. Whoop! Dirt alert! Got little worms. Oh my gosh, I love this one. Look how cute that is. Stuff one in there. Ooh. Look at that. How fun! Nice. That's it, you guys. It's that easy. Hopefully your kitchen is a little cleaner than mine. But for the full recipe, you can click on the link below, I believe.
Yep.
I always have to check. And that's it. Enjoy your day.